All right, we're here in the studio. Titan Tactician is with us. We're kind of trying some new things out today, so I'm pretty excited. What about you, Siebes?
I am as well. We'll find out if this works or not, right? We could look like heroes and look like we know what we're doing for all our new audience members, or we could be a debacle.
Yes, it could be a debacle.
We'll find out.
Well, there's a tech piece. Oh, you haven't even introduced me yet, but I'm just going to jump
in. Well, they know who you are.
There's a tech piece that could go totally wrong, but there's also just the analytics, right? I mean, we could engender some sort of fierce opposition to what we say. So let's see how this goes.
Yeah, so pretty cool event though. We just had a chance to participate in over the weekend. It was the U15 Boys State Cup, and through our relationship with Nebraska State Soccer and Casey Mann over there, he invited us over to cover that final as game of the week. Had a couple little Iowa connections in there as well with, one really nice little Iowa connection with Bill Koeppen coaching the Sporting Omaha Boys, and they took on Gretna Elite, which was coached by Alex Vasquez, so also a well-known, well-respected coach in the region and the area. What'd you guys think? Well, sorry, I should also say we were at Morrison Stadium, which was super cool.
I think that's where I would first start. One state cup being played at a time, which is really cool, and then obviously the venue.
One state cup final at a time, right? So,
yeah.
So they're doing this for another 2 weeks, managing this game, and they stream it live.
And, we talked a little bit about the Iowa State Cup last week. I would still recommend to Casey and the crew over there, try to move some stuff up a little bit, because again, in the next 2 weeks in the Midwest, hopefully they get good weather, because it was gorgeous for this game. If they our followers would jump on the social media for our weather report. But I think,
was it a weather report or a weather review this time?
That's a good point, Ben. But anyways, the venue is unbelievable, second to none in the Midwest. Arguably, the country, one of the top college venues, I think, still around. So
right downtown.
Cool. Yeah, pretty cool environment for the kids to get to play in a place like this.
What'd you think, Matt?
Yeah, I totally agree. The venue alone makes for a special occasion, I think, for 14 and 15-year-old young aspiring soccer stars, right? I mean, how can you not get up for a game when it's the State Cup Final, which means a lot to all of these kids, but then you get to go play probably where some of your biggest dreams for some of these kids are to play for Creighton someday. So you get to go play in their stadium on the turf on a Sunday afternoon where there's high stakes, so to speak, in your own mind, and just throughout the state of Iowa, trying to set the bar for your team being the best team in your age group at the state. So to be able to do it at Morrison Stadium is awesome. It's an awesome state-of-the-art facility, and I actually got to watch the game up from the press box. I had a really cool perspective of the game, and a warm one too.
Yeah, well, Blake and I were down there toiling on the field, interviewing the coaches, and trying to catch as much action as we could. One thing that was really fun, and I know for me and Blake, and I know for you too, Matt, was getting a chance to see Bill Koeppen, former Drake assistant, somebody that you guys both played for, somebody that I grew up playing for, at least like as an ODP player and stuff. So really fun to see him out there on the sidelines and doing a lot of the same things that we've seen him do for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. So should we get to the Titan Tactician for his analysis?
Yeah, let's talk about the game.
Okay, great. I think both coaches alluded to this and sort of gave each other compliments before the game and probably even after the game. But we've got, just going into the game, like you said, Bill Koeppen's been around for a long time. He's coached at a number of different levels. He coached for Creighton. He's coached for Drake. He's got kind of a long storied history as a coach in the Midwest. And then the same goes for Alex Vasquez. He's been around for a long time in the Omaha scene, developing a lot of youth athletes and youth soccer players in Nebraska. So, we knew going into this game, we were going to see, at least I was expecting to see a pretty high standard of play from 14 and 15-year-olds in Nebraska. Was expecting to see the kids up for the game, was expecting to see tackles flying everywhere, was expecting to see really good moments and good pieces of play. by both teams and two organized sides. And I think that we saw that. And that's certainly, I think, a reflection on those two coaches, because they're great coaches. They've got lots of experience. They love developing youth athletes, I think, and I'll speak for them in that circumstance. They can tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm betting that they love developing youth athletes, and they've been doing it for 20 and 30 years and doing a great job of it. And that game was a great game. It was really fun to watch. Coming in as a spectator and watching 14 and 15-year-olds play, sometimes you're kind of like, well, I really don't have any really sort of stake in this game.
No skin in the game.
So is this going to be something I'm interested in or not? And for me, it was very, very enjoyable to watch. I thought both teams were up for it on the day, and we saw a really good standard of play from both teams. Yeah,
it was a good game. Really actually enjoyable. And the thing that I noticed, just we were down on the field right as the game started, and those boys were flying around. I loved it. I mean, there were some I guess littler guys, because you're at that kind of weird age at 14, 15 where you got some 6-footers and some 5-footers. And this was one of the little guys, and he's just great tackle along the sideline, went to ground. I don't know, it was just one of those. It was like, oh, I want to play. Maybe you could get all fired up.
Yeah, definitely. There were some great tackles in the game, and I think I don't want to sort of speak poorly about the competitions that we saw in Iowa, because those were enjoyable to watch too. But there was something that was a little bit different about this game. The game had a little bit more about it. There was a little more passion, I think, that we saw. So credit to the guys and the coaches for getting them ready. But in that same vein, I think both of these coaches are very realistic about what this actual game meant in the big scheme of things. I think after the game, Alex said, the coach for Gretna said, hey, the good news is this is just sort of another game in the process here. We get going and we play next weekend, and we play in some more meaningful games. Koeppen said, I think probably before and after the game as well, this is a great accomplishment for these guys, but in no way, shape, or form are they finished products. And so I think that really sets a good example and a good tone for what the youth development process looks like. We can put a level of importance on this game, on a state cup final, and you can get your teams up for it, and you can get kind of the passionate sort of emotions coming out of your players. But you can also be realistic about what this game means in the grand scheme of things, and I think that's exactly what the messaging was that we heard before, in the middle, and after the game for the coaches, and I think the game was reflective of that.
Yeah, definitely trying to find that balance. And I think you alluded to, Matt, those guys are experienced. They've been around the block and done it. All good things there. So let's kind of get to the
So Matt, right? The old Titan, super diligent in his preparation as we expected, but today it's a whole nother level. He's got notes. Since we've got the video, he's clipped out some times that he'd like to highlight. But then the other kind of cool thing that we were able to do, because of having a little bit of a relationship with both of these coaches, and with Nebraska State Soccer, they provided us with rosters. So we've got names and numbers and stuff. So we're able to really kind of dig in and really give some good analysis.
All right. So tactician, where are we starting at here?
So let's go to first of all, for all the listeners, and this is usually your sort of job here, Blake, but you can view the game in its entirety on the Nebraska State Soccer's Facebook page. If you go there, they live stream the event. It's on YouTube. And so what I did this morning is I sort of was trying to remember big moments in the game, some of the goals or some of the chances that really had an outcome in the game. And I just played it back, and I picked out some moments and thought I'd maybe just give my perspective on maybe some of the good things, some of the things that happen in these circumstances, and then maybe some of the mistakes that players made too. So if you go to, and just so everybody knows, there's like a 20-minute lag.
30 minute.
Oh, there's a 30-minute lag on the YouTube video. So when we reference times here, it's not the actual minute of the game that we're referencing. It's actually the time frame of the video feed that you'll see on YouTube. So if you can go forward to minute 41 and 56 seconds, this is about 9.5 or 10 minutes into the game. But this is Gretna's first chance here. If you can, Ben, will you move a little bit so I can see that? So if you can stop it right there, Blake. So here it's 41 minutes and 52 seconds into the video feed, and
10 minutes into the game.
About 10 minutes in the game, yeah. And Sporting actually win the ball here, and it looks like they're in transition. It looks like they're gonna start to go forwards.
If you're actually watching, Sporting's in white, Gretna's in black.
Yep, thanks, Ben. And so stop it there for a second. I think one of the good things here is, you win the ball and you're in transition and you look to play it forwards. The central midfielder for Sporting, he gets the ball and he's looking forwards right away, and he plays it into the target player. So here he is again. They win the ball. They come out.
10 too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And he plays it into the target and stop it right when the target player gets it. Now, here's, I think, where the play actually starts to break down. And if you're and I think this is why, when Koeppen says, hey, this is a great moment for these kids, but they're by no means finished products. I think there's just certain moments in the game where if you're really looking at it with an analytical eye, you can say, hey, what sort of caused this to happen? And this is actually going to lead to Gretna's first chance. But if as the ball travels into the target, his first touch is poor. And he's got pressure directly on his back. But in this type of situation, you'd like to be able to see a player get side on, receive it probably with the outside of his foot, and be able to control the ball and hold the ball up and allow midfielder to just come in behind him. But I think here, as the player comes back and gets the ball, he allows the defender to take him off of balance, and you watch the ball go directly up into the air. So go ahead and play it again for a couple seconds, and then stop it here. So go back.
Sorry, Matt.
That's right. It'll take a couple seconds here.
Shambles from the video guy.
Yeah.
So what were you going to point out here, though, Matt?
Well,
It looks like it's a moment in transition.
yeah, I'll get there as soon as Blake gets the video feed here back in the right place. So,
Again, here's where Sporting wins the ball.
yep. There it is. They win the ball. They play out. They play into the target. Watch his first touch. Target player's first touch goes up into the air. All right, now stop it there. All right, if you look here now, this is decision time too. He knows his first touch has gone up into the air. And look at how Gretna has done a great job of getting back and getting in tight and getting bodies behind the ball. They've given the ball away, but then the next job is in transition, how to get bodies behind the ball. And so look at their four midfielders there. They're in tight. They've got three players around the ball, and then their two center backs are actually holding the line up nice and high. They're making things really, really compact. I think it's a great moment for Gretna in transition and transitioning from attack to offense. So look behind now that the Sporting player's got three open options. All right, go and play it and watch what he does. Instead of playing backwards, he turns into the defender. Stop it there. And he gives another bad touch and he gives the ball away. So one of the things Cap said to us at halftime was, or we asked him, what did you talk to the boys about? And he said, well, it was all about technique. It was all about being technical. And so I think here you got a technique and a tactical application of the game here, where you've got a player who didn't effectively hold the ball up, didn't then make a good decision about just playing out of pressure after he had a poor first touch, and then he gives the ball away in transition. All right, so here he gives the ball away. All right, play it for about one more second, and then stop it there. Now here's the next problem, right? Is Gretna then does a great job of playing forward. So you talk about looking forwards early and looking to penetrate the opposition. Think about what Gretna's just done here. They gave the ball away. They got in a shape that forced a turnover back within like 3 or 4 seconds. And then as soon as they won the ball, they were looking to attack going forwards. And you can see that there's now 5 players, Sporting players in the screen who are facing in the wrong direction. What you can't see in the screen quite yet is number 2, who is Gretna's striker, is starting to stretch the 2 center backs for Sporting. So go ahead and play the video again real quick and stop it there. So you can see here now, here's the next issue for the center backs, I think, for Sporting. And this will be, I think, for the, when you talk about learning moments for young players and for center backs, that there's a couple of moments I picked out. But the question here is that center back for Sporting, Blake's playing it back again, is when this ball gets played, stop it there. I mean, what is he doing right there, right? So you don't see the second center back yet. He's providing cover, but he's dropping off. But that center back at that point has either got to drop off and get goal side of the attacker, or he's got to get in front of his path so he stops the supply into the striker, understanding what's behind him. Now, he's got a center back in behind him, but I think that's where a more experienced two center backs would either hold that line, or they would be working in conjunction with each other to be able to win the ball or effectively stop the attack. So go ahead and play it. Number 2 gets the ball. He's actually able to beat both of them. And then, all right, stop it there for a second. And then the next sort of breakdown here is now on the Gretna side of the ball, right? Number 2 has done a great job of getting the ball, beating the player. But, this is where you got to make the moments count. And this is where, after the game we talked to Alex and say soccer can be a vicious game. It can be. But in a game like that, all that number 2 had to do here is when he beat the player, all he had to do is side foot it into the bottom lower corner, and he scores. It's on the turf. So I think those are the little moments in the game. And if you look at what we just looked at, we looked at 11 seconds. And what we saw there was we saw technical breakdowns. We saw great moments in terms of winning the ball in transition. But then ultimately, Sporting will be unhappy to give the ball away and create the chance.
I would just say, Matt, on that note, look at the pass into the target to stick up for the target a little bit. It's in the air bouncing to him, right? Yeah. Where the little, I think number 10 is it played it in, like it's on turf. The ball should be played, like Koeppen said, technical part, like the ball should be played on the ground, and it just kind of ends up from there.
Sure. No question. So that's the first part of the game that I thought was a good thing to mention, because if they score there and they go up 1-0, totally different game. And Gretna actually has, I counted, 4 really good chances in the first half. Really good. It could have been 4-0 in the first half, but they couldn't quite finish. So if you can go fast forward now to minute 52 and 30 seconds. This one's really interesting, just to me, based on some of the things that we've talked about playing out of the back, right?
Do you want to play the whole clip in its entirety and then go back and break it down?
That's fine. If
I
that's
think
how
it'd
you
just
guys
be
want to do it.
interesting. I just think it'd be interesting to see it.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, and then what are we going to...
All right, so here it is. So the goalkeeper gets the ball, plays it forwards, and then number 2 is in a foot race against 15, outruns 2, and then ultimately 20, I think, does a good job of covering, and it goes outside for a corner kick.
So it's basically like they're playing out of the back, and the goalkeeper plays it direct in one pass, and gets they're through.
Yeah, right. So we've talked a lot about this, is like, what does it mean to play out of the back? And I'm a big proponent of the idea that playing out of the back sometimes means playing it long and looking to penetrate. So here's what was interesting to me on this one. So you see here the center back plays with the goalkeeper, who gets the ball here. Now stop it there, all right? Goalkeepers, I think, can totally affect games with how they decide, when to play passes, even in this situation. So watch what this goalkeeper does. He's not under pressure, right? And he's got Sporting's striker starting to come run at him and put pressure on the ball. And this goalkeeper is composed enough, right, to actually change the direction with his first touch of the ball, and then actually dribble forwards to the edge of the box. So go forwards, and just move the game forwards as he dribbles forward. Look at that. He dribbles forwards. All right, stop it there. And now all of a sudden what he's seen is he's seen the opening to play it into number 2. So you've got 3 Sporting players in the screen right now. So the 2 behind their number 9, when you watch the video, if you notice, they're actually moving forwards. So the goalkeeper is also affected midfield because he's dribbling forwards. Now this is not what the Sporting players should be doing because in my mind there's no pressure on the ball, but by actually dribbling to penetrate as the goalkeeper, he's shifting the opposition, and he's actually shifting the opposition forwards and towards him, which is the opposite of what they should be doing because there's no pressure on the ball. So go ahead and play it. The goalkeeper plays a long pass now. All right, stop it there. Look at where Sporting center back is. So again, you got no pressure on the ball. The midfielders moving forward. Clearly, we weren't able to see it, but Sporting's back four were also moving forward. And then look at the back four; they're completely square. And then look at midfield, the massive gap in midfield. There are no players that are stopping the supply in number two. And so here you have you've got players that are moving forward when there's no pressure on the ball. And here's the simple rule, right? When there's no pressure on the ball, drop off. And number two is the fastest player on the team, and you could have told everyone that in the first 2 minutes.
He's faster than all three of us.
Yeah.
But the thing that's interesting though, it looks like he must, since we can't see the screen, the entire field on the video, it looks like number two has kind of checked into space and pulled the center back with him, and then now he's just left all the space in behind him.
Yep.
But really, if I'm that center back, I'm probably seeing that run, and I'm probably dropping off way sooner. Hopefully, I'm dropping off way sooner.
Right. So yeah, and stop it one more time, like when it gets to the when we can see the number two in that center back. So right there. Where's his cover?
Yeah.
Look at the left back. I mean, you'd like to see in that circumstance the left back and the center back, arguably both of them in behind the center back, at least one of them providing cover.
Well, it looks like, when you start to think about it, they were trying to play out of the back. It looks like Sporting was probably stepping up to sort of press a little bit, and so they've just left themselves a really high line. I would guess that there was some comment from Koeppen at halftime about a high line.
Well, this is the moment. Look, you can tell the goalkeeper's going to play it long.
Yeah.
Right here.
Drop off.
Yeah.
So here it comes down. Now let's focus on number two, because number two, he beats him in a foot race, right? All right, so stop it there. Good first touch, right? So once you beat a player, rule is get across him, because he's got a poor angle to the goal right now. So 2 is trying to turn the corner. 15's a big boy. He's a big, strong guy. So he's really trying to turn the corner here, and I think he takes a pretty good first touch, because you either all right, so stop here. He doesn't get across again. So watch his next touch. He's going to try and go across again. All right, stop it there. This is the moment now. It comes onto his left foot. Look at the goal. Look how wide open the left-hand corner is. So we're at, for the people viewing, we're at 52 minutes and 43 seconds.
Which is about 20 minutes into the game.
Yeah. But here's what we'll play it back. But what he does is he brings the ball back onto his right foot, which is his stronger foot. And I think this is, if you're talking about technical moments or decision making, if you're confident in this situation, I think with your left foot, you keep it on your left foot, you create a better angle, and you just slot it into the lower corner. But what happens is he takes it on his right foot. This buys time for the other center back to get across, and he takes a shot, and the other center back actually was able to have a successful tackle and put it out of bounds.
The striker in me would say the other option there, if you're just all right foot, is where do you put it? Just blaze it high, try and go over that goalie's head, and just smash it at him, right? But instead he tries to kind of sneak it past him or whatever. You just smash it at him, right?
Right. So here's the clip in its entirety again. Here's number 2 running onto the ball, takes a touch, tries to get across the defender. There's the moment because should have come onto his left foot, and like Ben said, he could have gone high, he could have gone lower.
What's the other thing you do, Blake? I know Blake. This is what Blake would do. He'd
Just
slow down and write the foul and get the penalty.
Yeah, like you said. He literally could have put his foot on top of the ball and got clattered into from behind.
Absolutely.
But
yeah, and those are the big moments. But think about that. So that could be there. That's their second chance. 20 minutes in, it should be Gretna 2-0 right now.
Certainly could be.
Right. And so I think when they watch the game back or really talk about things, they're going to say, man, totally different game if we finish those first 2 chances. This one's going to go forward quite a bit now. We're going to fast forward all the way into the second half. So go to an hour, 26 minutes, and 31 seconds.
And I think, again, if you guys are curious what the coaches thought at halftime, big thanks to to Bill and Alex for giving us some time because we stuck a microphone in front of their face and got their thoughts on halftime, what the message was. So
yeah, and it was interesting because it was not just like straight coach speak where they're saying, all right, we gotta make a couple adjustments or whatever. I mean, they were giving us some actual specifics on what they were going to do. You could tell they weren't concerned that the other coach was going to steal their ideas or anything like that. They were just open and honest about what they were trying to do, and you could see the tactical things that they talked about. You could see it actually happen.
All right, what did you say, Matt?
So 1:26 and 31 seconds. I mean, or just there you go. You're right there. Okay. So this is again I picked out this moment. Well, number one, it actually leads the Sporting first goal, but I started here because again, and we've talked about this a lot, but the conversation is what we called it last time. And then Blake said, no, this is just how it is. The conversation is like, we got to play out of the back. Or, this is, everything's out of the back. At least in Iowa anyway. That's what we're seeing in Iowa. Nebraska may be different. So here's a moment where this is a goal kick.
Or
right?
offsides or...
Yeah, it looks like, you're right. Offsides. All right, so stop it there. So Gretna first, and Gretna's got the ball. We're at a minute, 26 and 38 seconds for those watching. The goalkeeper...
Hour 26.
Correct. Thank you, Ben. That's
good.
Actually important, isn't it?
It is.
We'll do it. So an hour, 26 minutes, 38 seconds. The goalkeeper lines up to take the free kick. Initially, the players start to go wide. Stop it there. And then all of a sudden, they decide to say, hey, look, it's not on to play short, so we're going to play long. Right? Totally the right decision. And
he looks to do it right there. You see him. He literally looks to go play it short, quick, and it's not on.
And the Sporting boy out here, the winger, faces the ball, which is another. A huge
visual
big thing. Yeah, like he doesn't run, face his own goal. He turns and now he sees the ball and takes that away.
Right, the right winger you're talking about, right
Yep.
at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, you can see he's kind of jumping up to change his direction to start to go towards the left back. But okay, so now. This is the moment here now with an hour 26 minutes and 35 seconds. They decide to play long, which is the right decision. And one of the things I like about this is the coach or the team. Stop it there. The team has clearly been trained. When we're going to go long, you get up and in, right? But the issue here is that they didn't get up and in quick enough. So look at the left backs at the bottom of the screen with Gretna, the center back. The two center backs are split 10 yards, and then I believe that's number 12 for Sporting in the middle. That's splitting the two center backs for Gretna. And look at the goalkeeper here. We're at an hour 26:41. He's getting ready to kick it, right? Now, this goalkeeper, we just saw him in the first half play a pass from the edge of the 18-yard box all the way to the halfway line. So we know what his range looks like. So if those players are standing here when the goalkeeper's about to kick it, they're not high enough up the field. Right? They're not. There's not. We don't see any midfielders. So
and look at just look at how quote quick or slow, however you want to phrase it, they get up and in.
Right.
That's part of the going to your point, Matt.
It's
a
pedestrian.
jog. Yeah.
Let it play for a second.
Yeah. All right. So stop it there. All right. So now we're at an hour, 26 minutes and 45 seconds. The ball's been played forward as expected. The goalkeeper actually was able to play it all the way to the halfway line. And Sporting's number 15 center back, I think that's still 15. It looks like him with the hair there. But he does what you expect your center back to do in that circumstance, and that's to win the ball. Now, I'd add there, though, I actually, if I'm Gretna, it got flicked on, didn't it? So I got to change that. So the goalkeeper actually doesn't have a very good goal kick. But okay, so we're stopped at an hour, 26 minutes and 45 seconds. At the top of the screen now, on the right-hand side of the screen, that's number 29 for Sporting, and
who's one of their danger guys.
Yeah, he's one of their best players, 29 and 12. And if you look at that, he's 1 versus 1 there. And he's just off the right shoulder of the player, and of the number 6. One of the things Vasquez I think said at halftime was, or you asked him the question, how do you deal with number 29 and number 12? And his specific comment was, well, we're playing with 2 holding midfielders. So he's like, I'm trying to get these guys to come across and play in that two midfielder holding role. Or if you look at this picture, it looks like they've inverted that triangle here. And so 29 is 1 versus 1 against, 1 holding midfielder. So go ahead and play it. So the ball gets won by Sporting. All right, stop it there. 29 comes and wins the ball. Now, here's the other problem is he's got way too much space because the left and the right back, or the left back I don't think is close enough in, or he's actually been beat there. But 29 is able to turn and run, play it out wide, go ahead and play it. And as this happens, 12 is coming off the back shoulder of the other center back, draws the goalkeeper out, and has a really nice, calm, cool, collected finish into the lower right-hand corner.
What a nice little pass from the number 10 too.
Big time.
He's actually wearing the number 10, but it's a clever little ball.
Yeah.
And he was to me. I mean, I know that the 2 goal scorers and stuff, but to me, he was one of my favorite players, the 10. Mm-hmm. He was a little playmaker, but he was scrappy too. He was the guy that flew into the tackle in the first 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah. But I mean, here's the point. So this goalkeeper has to wait for his guys to get up and in before he kicks this ball, or the defenders, they have to do more than just walk to get into an area where they're going to win the ball.
The gap between the midfield and the back.
Right, it's at 43 seconds there. So here's the rest of the clip in its entirety. 15 wins the ball, plays it in. 29 wins the ball, plays it out wide. Look at this pass here now. Little curled ball, draws the goalkeeper, right-footed finish into the lower right-hand corner after he rungs the goalkeeper. Good stuff. Sporting 1-0.
And that was just a few minutes into the second half.
Yeah, it was right when you go put the camera away.
Yes.
Okay, so 4th moment, and I've got 6 total. We good on time here?
Yep.
Yeah, we're good. Let's stick with this, play the clip though, because then we'll go through it a little quick.
Ben wants to see the whole thing.
Well, I want to know what's going to happen. I don't want to
Right.
just listen to you break it down second by second.
Okay, all right.
No offense.
So go to an hour, 33 minutes, and 25 seconds. So Ben, for you, just to preface this, this is where Gretna wins a penalty here.
Great. We didn't see how it was won either. So the number 2 gets released. Oh wow. A little bit of a soft penalty.
I thought it was soft too. So go back to. Have you seen enough ones, Spence? For
Yeah,
No, that was good. I just
to start it an hour, 33 minutes, and 25 seconds. So we're playing up to it here. Actually,
I just thought this was good.
no,
Right
you got to
before that,
go
Matt?
back. Yeah, go back further because it starts before that. All right, so not to pick on the center backs here, but again, this is where I think we're just a little bit of maturity and just more time, sort of in the saddle, so to speak. We'll sort some of these things out. But all right, go ahead and play it. So Gretna win the ball here.
Again, first 2 passes are forward.
Right.
You notice that
Yeah.
as well when they
Love
want it.
that.
Yep. All right, so Gretna starts coming forward. Oh, I think we're in the wrong spot here. Minute, yeah, we're a minute. So you got to go to minute.
Slow.
Yeah, minute 33 and 25 seconds. Okay, so here it is. Okay, stop it here. So big, strong boy, number 15, gets the ball. He's got no pressure on the ball. He's a center back for Sporting. He's standing on the halfway line. You'd figure this is a non-threatening sort of position because you have the ball. So go ahead and play it. Problem is, stop it. All right, he gives the ball away immediately to number 3. So I think that's the first thing that leads to the turnover. Now, here to your point is, let's talk about what Gretna does. Gretna win it. Number 3, right away, looks forward. Yep. All right, so stop it there now. Now look at this. Number 15, he's given the ball away. He's standing in behind number 2, who's their most threatening player. Okay, and so what you'd expect, and the ball's in the air. What you'd expect, I think, out of your first defender in this circumstance, and a center back, is he would be touch tight to this guy, and he would be looking to win the ball and challenge the ball. If you look at the screen as well, the second defender, the covering defender, who's the other center back, is in a really good position because he's starting to come in behind him to provide some cover.
That was something you heard the Koeppen, the coach, constantly talking about one up, one back to cover.
Right.
I heard that more than once.
So they listened to him at halftime, actually.
Shocking.
But here's the next thing, too. You want to talk about number 3 who wins the ball. He's right in the center of the screen now. So he's decided to play forwards, but then he follows his pass, too, and goes forwards. So this is really, really good stuff from Gretna because they win the ball. They immediately plays forwards. Plays it. Boom. Now look at him. He's starting to run forwards. All right. Now the center back allows number 2 to turn, beats him, and then look at this pass from 2 that goes in behind the covering defender.
Really well weighted.
Yep. And all of a sudden now, this has created the opportunity.
He's got to, talk about getting across your defender, though. You guys argue if it's a penalty or not, but he's got to cross him.
Yeah,
and
enough to draw a little contact.
Draw contact, and he just goes down very easily.
So
He
Ben,
sold it.
So this is the big debate here, I think. So watch the old lino over here on the far side. His flag he's called something different than the center referee.
So when the number 3 went down,
Tell us where we're at. Here we're at an hour, 33 minutes, and 41 seconds.
so when 3 goes down, he puts his hand on the ball, and there's no whistle. So then he hops up, and so when he puts the hand on the ball, the referee, the linesman, can actually see him put the hand on the ball where the center official cannot. Right. So he puts his hand on the ball right there. Handball gets called. She calls a penalty. The center ref calls a penalty, and then they have to have a little chat about it.
Right. Yep. And so we don't have to play the penalty because he misses it, right? But another.
But I think it's worth playing because here it is. So you see it. The guy who gets fouled is the guy who wants to take it. Right. The number 2, who's their best player or seems to be their most dangerous player, walks off. And most coaches would say they don't like to have the player who gets fouled take the penalty unless he's like your penalty taker.
It'd be interesting what kind of conversation that. It could have been a pep talk. Hey,
like you earned it, finish it.
Or there could have been some.
Or he could have said, "Hey, you've already missed 2 chances, number 2."
Yeah, it's my turn this time.
Right.
Oh, that one hurts because it's 2-0. That would have been 2-1, and so that would have put him back into the game like immediately in the first few minutes of the second half.
You can see 3 is very upset, and the 2 comes over and is like, move on. It's okay. But just interesting that he didn't say, you know what, I want to take this. I don't know. Curious.
All right, Matt. What's our next
Number
one?
5.
So next moment I just want to mention very briefly, but we don't have to go to any video footage because we couldn't see it. But so it's actually, you know what? It's later on in the game. But I'll mention it now. There's a moment in the game where the ball gets kicked and it goes off the bar, and I was sitting up in the press box, and I guess I
know what minute that was.
You know what? I think I'm getting ahead of myself here because I think it was 2-1 at that point. Maybe should we talk about that in a few minutes?
Okay.
All right. So go to an hour, 38 minutes and 54 seconds.
Your notes get a little scrambled there. What happened?
Well, it was just I didn't put that down in my notes, and so I got ahead of myself there. I'm sorry, Ben.
It's okay.
I remember my first time analyzing a game too, Matt.
This is where we'll get criticized for this. Anyway, all right. So this is actually a really interesting moment. So this is Sporting's second goal. So we're at an hour, 38 minutes, and 52 seconds. You look at the bottom of your screen. Number 29 is all the way over in the right wing, and he's the guy that had been playing in the hole for most of the game. So he was injured. So like 15 or 20 seconds before that, there was a yellow card in the game, and he must have been bleeding or something, because the referee makes him go off. So
down here.
Yeah. So here we are at an hour, 38 minutes and 43 seconds. He's all the way at the bottom of the screen. He's waiting to get waved on by the referee. So here if you play the clip forwards. Okay, just play the whole thing. That's fine. So here it starts. Sporting wins the ball. He gets waved on. Lots of space. Makes a good decision to just run forwards. Plays it into the striker. And then there's the goal. So go backwards. I'll point out a couple of things that I thought were really good from Sporting here. So if you stop it at 58, play it for 58 seconds. So center back gets the ball, plays it wide to number 29. All right. So right here, so we're at an hour, 38 minutes, and 58 seconds. 29's got the ball in space. He's driving forwards. And look at all the Gretna players. They're all obviously engaged and looking at the ball. So there's 5 players behind the ball, plus the goalkeeper, so there's 6. And then there's one recovering defender that's running at 29. But everyone's looking at the ball. So at the top of the screen, you see 2 Sporting players, the left winger, and then number 12, who's their striker. But nobody's really looking at number 12 or watching what number 12 is going to do here. Go ahead and just, all right, stop it there. Here I think is the decision that's really, really smart from number 12. We would see a lot of players in this circumstance, a lot of strikers, just keep on running forwards away from the ball. But this is really, really good target play because sometimes the best strikers know just when to stand still. You know, instead of going forward, you just stand still and you let the opposition follow the ball, and it creates an angle where you can actually get the ball at your feet and do something good with it. So here it is again. He stands still. All right, now stop it there for a second. Now all of a sudden he draws. Look at how all the attention is shifted to him. So now all of a sudden you've got, and again we're at an hour, 38 minutes, and 59 seconds, but you've got 7 as the recovering defender. You've got the 2 center backs who are watching the ball, the left backs, or the right backs watching the ball, and 12's got it. 29 is continuing his run though. He keeps running forward and no one's watching him.
And this midfield player tracks back with him, but then stops.
Mm-hmm. So playing forwards, and he's committed 2 defenders here. 29 keeps going. The center back goes across, loses 29, and with one pass here, he beats 5 players. Go ahead and play it. Slips into 29. Really good pass with the outside of his foot, and then a good finish up into he finishes high into the corner. So I thought that was a really, really good moment for Sporting. 29 appears in an area of the field he had not appeared in often. Really good target play because he stands still, commits to the defender, beats 2 on the dribble, penetrates with a pass, and a good finish from 29.
You see 29 too right there at the last second point to play it in behind instead of to his feet. It's actually pretty clever.
Like that too. Those are the 2 players of the game for me for Sporting too, 12 and 29. It was really enjoyable too to see good target play, and it was enjoyable to see a team set up where they actually had, when they played in 4-3-3, there was actually that player that played in the hole. It made all the difference in the world because you start connecting with the target player.
So at this point, 2-0 Sporting.
Yep. At this point, 2-0 Sporting. So go forward to an hour and 46 minutes and 5 seconds, and this is Gretna's first goal.
Their only goal.
Only goal, yep.
So we'll let this play for a little bit, tighten. So Ben is happy.
We'll see what happens.
Sure. So the ball's on the left wing here. We're at an hour, 46 minutes and 8 seconds. Ball gets played in. And 2 with the finish. All right, so go back and start at an hour, 46 minutes and 5 seconds. Okay, so I think this is the first big moment here. The Gretna's left winger, he's going forwards and he's leading up to this point. He's thinking about beating the opposition on the dribble, and he realizes here, I think, that it's 1 versus 2. It's actually 1 versus 3 if you count the other center back. And the other thing is, look at, he's drawn the center back for Sporting all the way out into the left. And this will become important as we play the rest of the video. But he sort of puts on the brakes here and says, hey, you know what? It's not on to go forwards. Let me go backwards. But note where the center back is. He's all the way out here in the channel.
And this one has forced this boy to slide across. I mean, look how far on that side of the field he is as well.
Right.
And
I think you want to, you can, at this point in the game, you defend that cross 1 versus 1. Right? I mean, you trust your right back to win it, right, 1 versus 1, and you keep your center back in the middle of the field, I think. All right, so stop it there. So this is another, I think, good little piece of play. Is this the number 3 again? He was a good little player. He did really smart stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Now look at this here. Again, look how positive he is in his approach to the game. He's looking to play forwards again. And so...
Keep talking, man. I'm just going to show the whole piece of him playing forward when he could have gone backwards, right?
Yep. Lets it roll through his legs. All right, there. Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah. So see if you can go back a couple of seconds. Let's just you can play that clip again there. So here comes 12 again. 12 comes down the line. Good turn here. Good decision. Goes back to 3. Lets it roll through his legs. All right, stop it there. Okay. So now the first issue here, actually we're at 1 hour, 46 minutes, and 9 seconds. So if you look at the top left-hand corner of the screen, there's number 15 off on his own. He's not marking anyone. And again, Gretna has drawn out their biggest, probably best player in the air anyway, out wide into the channel. And now you've got 3, and I don't know if you recognize this, but I mean, he sort of just takes a chance and plays one around the corner into the striker. So the other center back now, look at who is for Sporting. Look what side of the ball he's on, or the side of the player he's on. So he's on the right shoulder of the attacker, and he's right-footed, and the ball's coming into that player. So, and I mean, for me, he should be the other side of the ball, which would be, I mean, I guess they're both goal side, but if he's on the other side of that attacker, he's going up to win the ball in the air or win it with his right foot and block it probably out wide or up the field. And then the other player to point out then is the next defender, who I think is the left back. So
this one right here, Matt.
yeah, but so will you go back again, because I want to note his movement. So he'll be the covering defender. So watch this. All right, stop it right there. All right, so look where you got 2 center backs who are on the left-hand side of the screen. 1, and then 2, and then the next player over, I think that's the left back. Look where he's at. He's on the edge of the 18. If you watch this, he actually moves forward first. So the ball gets played in, watch him move forwards, and he goes, uh-oh, I got a problem. So now, because he's moved forward, he's outside the 18-yard box. And so when the center back goes up to challenge the ball, he misses it, and now he's not deep enough to deal with the second ball. And he tries to throw a leg up there, he misses it, and 2 is sort of lurking in behind him, and is able to take advantage of the mishap. So here it is. Second defender's too high, 2 comes in behind him, and then 2 actually slots it away with a really nice finish. You would have liked to see that from him in those first 2 chances. But I think it's a couple of different errors from Sporting there. But then good play again for number 3 just to go forwards, and 3 does a great job of getting on the end of what is a mistake from Sporting. So it's 2-1 at that point.
And at this point, talk about atmosphere. It picks up a little bit, doesn't it?
It does.
So at 2-1, my coffee just got in my face. So at 2-1, then the next sort of, I would say, moment of controversy was, and I didn't note this point in the game, so I'm not sure when it was. I don't know if you can find it or not, but it's 2-1, and I think it's number 3 who gets the ball, and he strikes it, and he hits the bar. And it's one of those shots that hit the bar and drop directly down, and it challenges the line. And when it does that, the linesman is probably 12 to 15 yards from the end line, so is not in a position to see whether or not the ball had gone into the goal or not. This could be it right here, actually. Oh, this is not it.
Okay.
But so I was up in the press box. I was right in that area of the field where I could see, actually, I had a really good vantage point for that shot. And I'm telling you with 100% certainty, I can tell you that ball is in the goal. So it goes off the bar and it actually bounces backwards. And I was looking right at it, and I could see there was at least 4 inches of space in between the goal line and where that ball landed. It was in the goal, no doubt. And I immediately looked up at the linesman, and I watched him arriving late. He had no idea that the ball had gone in the goal. And I don't think it was his fault, because I just think it would have been impossible for anyone to get to the end line to see that. But, I mean, if we would have had VAR in that circumstance, that would have been awarded a goal, and I think it would have been 2-2 at that point, which, again, totally would have turned the tables here, or turned the game a little bit in Gretna's favor. And so when you talk to Alex at the end of the game and you say soccer can be a cruel game, I think that's an example of that.
Great. Is that it, Matt, or do you have anything else?
That's all I've got. I mean, the Sporting goes up 3-1. They ended up winning the game 3-1.
That was a good third goal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think maybe in closing, or just to wrap it up, a really well contested game, well coached game. And then when we get to look through these clips, it's very very clear that the comments that both coaches made about not being the finished product, certainly obvious, but at the same time, you can tell they're being coached and taught what to do. So I think it'll be really interesting to see some of these guys over the years and see where they end up, because I'm sure some of them will be playing at Morrison under the lights in the blue of Creighton.
Yeah, there was a lot of talent on that field, and you have to remember these are 14-year-olds, so they're young kids that, I mean, they've only been teenagers for 2 years.
Here's the goal.
Yeah, that's a great goal.
It was a good piece of individual skill, and
you're just basically giving the goalkeeper the eyes and sending them the wrong way.
Yeah.
Snuck one near post.
For those of you watching at home, here's a little replay of the goal.
Yeah.
Again, they played forward that first pass.
Yeah. And I forgot about this too. You see who's up front now here, and that's number 15. So Koeppen moved his center back, who we noted had a couple of mistakes actually at the back. He moves him up front. I thought it was a really, really interesting move. We would see, I think, a lot of coaches, you would see you're up 2-1, and you're starting to think, how do we protect the lead? And Koeppen went the other way here, and I think maybe we actually asked him about this after the game.
We did talk about it.
And he said he was going to do it anyway. But I think it's interesting because he actually, at 2-1, he makes a decision to keep his foot on the pedal and to make sure that, because 12 gets injured, but to make sure that they still have an outlet up front, that they still have a target player that they can play through. And that third goal, I mean, it starts because number 15 is just banging around
Watch
up there.
who wins the ball here.
Yeah.
Right? Clatters him, but then clatters him, and as a result, they win it. And
there he is. Now he gets the ball back. Yeah.
Well, and Koeppen did say that his team they can certainly attack. They're a little all over the place at the back, but so I think that was probably Koeppen knowing that at this point in the game at 2-1, if they revert into some sort of defensive shell, that's not going to work for them. So instead, he knows what to do, makes a couple changes, and puts the foot on the gas, like you said. They go on to win it, and I think at 3-1, it was done and dusted.
So I would, my final comments would be, one of the reasons I thought this game was enjoyable to watch, and I think this is, again, this is credit to both of the head coaches, we saw a good standard of play in terms of technique, in terms of organization. The players they passed the ball. This wasn't just kicking the ball and, for no reason, but guess what? They tried to play forwards. And it's a huge difference. I think compared to what we saw in Iowa a couple of weeks prior, we saw some good technical play, but I think there's a total different mentality in terms of just playing forwards. It's that simple.
And this is where we put our plug in. So if you all want to hear our thoughts on the Iowa Soccer State Cup for the 15, no, we did 16 boys and 16 girls a couple games. Make sure to get on our social media platforms, listen to our podcast, wherever you listen to them on, to get our thoughts.
Absolutely, Blake. Thanks to the Titan Tactician for joining us today in the studio, and we'll see you guys again soon. The games of the week are probably going to be few and far between as it gets a little colder, but we'll still be churning out some content. So yeah, see you soon.